Nope.
What is up, you guys? It's James from James Shift House. In today's video, we are going to be talking about everything that's happening in the world without mentioning it, because even though I only have so many subscribers and I don't get paid for my videos and aren't monetized, if you say that word, they get monetized. And basically what that means for a small channel like me is YouTube will actually block a lot of the people that come in and watch my channel. So there were 2 videos that I know I said it and they are locked. I can see that they are locked and they only have like 1 or 2 views each. So I'm not going to say that word. You're going to think that word. Don't say it in the comments. But nevertheless, life goes on, especially with animals. You know, I still have to go to work. Unfortunately, they told us we're all getting cut back to 4 days of work to kind of save money in case it gets worse, in case, you know, the quarantine goes longer. So I'm definitely gonna be home an extra day a week, which is terrible in terms of I'm gonna have to borrow money from family. I'm gonna have to do all this stuff. We have to make preparations. You know, the government's talking about handing out money. It is what it is. I'll figure that stuff out on the side. But in terms of reptiles and, you know, in terms of the hobby, we all have to keep working. We all have to keep taking care of our animals. You know, we just had Forrest Fanning pass away, and you know, he's got all his animals at his facility. I don't know what they're doing with those. They have you know, a couple of different auctions, a couple of different charity events going on for him, and most of that stuff's canceled. You know, all the shows are canceled. Everything's canceled. People still have animals to take care of. People still have babies they need to get rid of so they can make room for new babies. It's a stressful time for this to happen, and it's happening, so we're dealing with it. So I'm going to feed some geckos, and maybe we'll go over some other stuff. Let's get into it. Alright, so I just fed off some crickets to all my leopards and fat tails. Crested geckos. As it goes, I've got 12 eggs right there. I just collected 2 more today. Then I have another 3, so that's 15 total. These 2 should be hatching 6-ish days, maybe sooner, maybe later. I mean, the house has been relatively warmer since then. Inside this incubator, I'm not going to look in it. I had 1 fat tail egg for sure go bad. I have 1 more that's looking bad. And then I have a leopard gecko that had a little bit of mold. I don't think the egg is bad. I think it's just too close to the lid. And I've actually been working on how much substrate I put in and how much water I put in. I want to get it down to a science. I want to know exactly how many ounces go in so I can, you know, not mess it up, not accidentally add too much water, and not be like, oh, you know, maybe this is why that happened. You know, if it goes bad, I know it's because either the eggs were infertile or it was just bound to happen. So, in other news, the roach colonies are growing huge. This one, of course, is dark. Oh, there they are. This one, not very many roaches in there, so I didn't put a lot of carrot, but it looks like they're doing good. Lots of little babies is what I'm seeing, which is awesome. You let the babies thrive, and you know, a couple months they're all adults, and you know, instead of having 10 females laying babies, now all of a sudden you have 200 females laying babies. So it exponentially multiplies extremely fast if you just leave them alone. And that's what I tell my customers who want to buy colonies to support, you know, a couple bearded dragons or bearded dragon, a bunch of leopards. They go, you know, I keep running through them. I bought colonies before, and I end up feeding them all off. And they go, well, what do you do? And I said, well, first off, I have multiple colonies, and if I'm going to feed, I pick out of 1. And second, I don't feed any off. I just let them grow, and I let them grow, and I let them grow, and then maybe I sell a little bit. And I've done this in the past where I've accidentally sold too much, and then I let them grow, and I let them grow, and I let them grow. And that's the best way to do it. Honestly, it's the best way. Unless you're willing to have a bunch of colonies, you're not really going to fully supplement anything like a bearded dragon, maybe a leopard gecko, but nothing quite like that. They just don't produce in numbers people think they do, which they still produce awesome, and I'm surprised it's like the #1 thing people should be breeding and selling that they aren't. But at the same time, they don't produce like people think they do. Alright, so after, if you learn this, if you have so many geckos, you need to find an easier way to feed them. So instead of mixing all my little cups every day, or every other day rather, one thing I did when I got all a bunch of geckos is I went and got some of these. Actually, there's like a 5-pack on Amazon for like $12. Pretty awesome. I only use 2 of them just in case they start breaking. I have extras. Tonight's flavor, fig with insect Pangea. I think this is like a 1 pound bag, or maybe, I don't think it's quite 4 pounds. Yeah, it might be. But I came to him with this little funnel, which is perfect for what I'm doing. One thing I did learn the hard way is if you go to put powder in, you're going to waste a bunch because it'll all just sit right at the bottom. And if you add water, it just doesn't get wet. So what I do is I add what I think is probably a half or 2/3 of how much water I'm going to need. And then I add a bunch of that, and then I just kind of add more as I go. That way at least the powder doesn't sit on the bottom and just kind of go to waste, and then it's hard to clean out. One thing I love about using the bottle is I can look at each individual gecko and I can be like, oh, you know, this one ate all of its food last time. However much I gave it last time, you know, I'm going to give it a little bit extra. This gecko looks really big. It looks, you know, I think it's going to eat a growth spurt. I'm going to make sure I feed it really well, make sure it has access to all of the food it could ever want. And it's really easy to make a bunch that are the wrong size, and then you're like, well, I already made these, so these geckos have to eat these. When we have the bottle, I can look at each gecko and just be like, yep, this one needs that much, and then I squeeze. And worst case scenario, I over squeeze and a little goes to waste, and that's all right. I'm not worried about that. Anything that goes waste ends up going to my dubia colony, unless of course I wait a 3rd day, which I do once a week. I'll skip a feed and I'll just feed on the 3rd day instead of every other day. And what that does, it kind of gives me a little break, and it just kind of gives the geckos a little break of like me coming in and bothering them. That one's really pretty. And once a week I'll go through and I'll just check every animal. And of course when they're all together like this, I'll give them a little bit extra food. Just in case, just so no one fights. And I like to put it right next to the water. And then what I don't do is I don't put the paper towel roll in when I spray, because it'll mold a lot faster than it will if I don't. And I also don't like having this on top of, over top of the food or the water. It just makes me feel like they can't find it. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that's how I feel. So that's the deal. This one I like. This one I want to keep back. See those white lines on the side? Well, you can't now because it's late, but I love that. It'd be awesome. We get some white lines going all the way across. Look at how tiny these guys are. These are ones I just hatched out the other day. And their names are Theodore and Gerald. And there's some little rocks in there from their incubation medium, and you know, they probably don't know exactly where the food's at yet, so maybe I'll put some small crickets in there for them, see how they do. And I won't put too much food, just a little bit. Hopefully, you know, I'm gonna put it at just an angle so maybe it doesn't dry out within the next few days, so they have a chance to get it. Maybe they find it tomorrow afternoon and they have a chance to find it. And yep, just like that. And I'll probably put the next clutch that hatches in with them. I like to put clutches together just so they can kind of teach each other how to eat and how to hunt. And I like when they eat crickets because they grow a lot faster. And so if I can get them all eating crickets, you know, that's really awesome. This is obviously an awesome group. Lots of high tigers in here. And lots of nice light colors with some of these. They seem like they ate a lot of their food, so I'm gonna change their paper towel. It's just not looking too great. Oh, he's screaming at me. And you can see it kind of gets a discoloration. And what I'll do is I'll use it to wipe up any of the bigger splotches of poop. And when it's really time to clean them, I'll really give a deep clean. And what I do is I'll give them a fresh one because I have backups, and then I'll just put these in my big pile of stuff that needs to get deep cleaned. And when I get around to that stuff. I get around to that stuff. I've got a big pile of excess stuff that doesn't need to be done right away, but could if I wanted to. And I don't know what I'm talking. I'm going to cut a lot of this out. See that? When they get like, obviously, when they get like that, you definitely want to take them out. And ones when they have groups of 4, I usually like to keep them in there, but in times like these, I don't have too many to waste, so I'm going to leave them without it for now. And just expect that hopefully they don't take each other's tails off or anything like that. They're such a young age, I don't think they will. But I need to buy more baby crickets. I need to start feeding these guys baby crickets. Watch them explode and grow. And then I can sell them faster for more. This is a nice box. How many in here? 3? That one, super nice. I'd love to grow that one up. See what it comes out as. That's the problem. Whenever they look really nice, I want to grow them up and keep them. But I'd love to see that one sell. That one too. Let's see. These look good. These paper towel things are fine. Maybe they're not fine. I'm going to put more in this one just because that one's so nice and I don't want to risk anything happening to it. As I say as I claw it off. Alright, so just like that, all my crested geckos and gargoyle geckos are fed. And you might be thinking, well, James, you have that much stuff left over. What are you going to do with it? Well, I made it a lot on purpose. I'll stick this in the freezer. And in 2 days, I'll add a little bit of water, shake it up, make sure it's not cold, and feed it off some more. And I don't always do this. It's something I actually, maybe I'll do once every like 5 or 6 times. But it definitely helps out. It makes it a little bit less annoying to make the food, and makes cleanup easier because I don't have to clean this every day. But I am going to clean the funnel. Alright, so obviously everything's eaten up. That's going to be it for today. Not much else is going on. My name is James from James Reptiles. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. All that definitely helps out the channel. Make sure to hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, jamesreptiles@gmail.com if you have any questions. And stay safe.